Hello, I'm live, I hope. Let me pull this up on my computer so that way I can see if people are commenting and I can actually respond. I just kind of randomly decided to, well, not so randomly, and I'll get into that. Let me mute my computer. There we go, and let me say something to everybody. Oh, good. I have a few people joining me. Well, welcome. I am in my Maker's Mark bourbon t-shirt and yoga pants sitting here on the living room floor surrounded by a bunch of random stuff. And the title of this video, what did I title this? I should remember this. Things that bring me joy. I just want to kind of have a very chill, relaxed chat, share kind of haul style-ish video. It's not necessarily a haul because the things I'm going to share are just, there's some witchy things like tarot decks and incense, but then there's also some like self-care and beauty items. It's all over the place because basically the point of this video, I just wanted to give you guys something to watch that is just easygoing and might give you a little bit of break from the news, from the quarantining, from the stress. I know haul videos get a bad rap because some people think they're a little bit too vapid or empty or promote too much materialism or anything like that. And you know, I've made a pretty serious video recently, and you can check it out on my channel a few days ago about COVID-19 and the global crisis. But I wanted something light today because sometimes you just need something light. I don't know about you guys, but we're kind of self-quarantining right now. And just, I've been listening to ASMR videos. Mellow, what kind of tarot cards do you own? Well, my tarot decks are kind of all over the place. Thank you for joining, by the way. Feel free, you guys, to join. And share the things, the simple pleasures in life. Like, I think this is what this video is about. It's the simple pleasures in life that I'm appreciating now more than ever. You know, this is what this video is about. Things that make me, that bring a little spark of joy, things that I appreciate that I have in this kind of time. So to answer your question, what kind of tarot cards do you own? My decks are kind of all over the place. The two decks that I'm going to share today are the only two decks that I've purchased while I've lived in Chile. I moved to Chile. I'm in Santiago right now. I had to leave most of my tarot and oracle cards back in the US in my parents' basement because we moved to Chile with just our suitcases. Ro or Rue McGee, am I saying your name right? Should I say Ro or Rooks or Rue? McGee, I'm glad you're back. Hello, hello. I tried to start this chat a little bit earlier than the last one because I know there's some people who watch me who are in other parts of the world with different time zones, and a lot of us are self-quarantining or working from home anyway, right? By the way, speaking of things that bring me joy, this brings me a lot of joy. It's a Waffle House coffee mug. We bought two of these and packed them with us before we moved to South America. Anybody who's traveled through or lived in the southeast region of the US, you know about the magic of Waffle House. I'm drinking chocolate soy milk right now, something that I treated myself to. Um, so yeah, a lot of us, I mean, before I get into it, sharing the stuff, oh, well, let me finish answering the tarot question. And so I had to leave a lot of my tarot decks and oracle decks at home. The only oracle deck that I packed with me was the Rumi Oracle. It's pronounced Ro, but it really not really important. Happy to see you live. Oh, thank you for the clarification and thanks for joining again. This probably isn't going to be the last live that I do because speaking of the Rumi Oracle, that's the only oracle deck I had space to pack in my suitcase. And it's my favorite uh, oracle deck ever. It's written by Alana Fairchild, and I think the artwork was done by Rasuli, if I'm not mistaken, and it's all based on the mystical poetry of Rumi. It was actually my introduction to Rumi, and so um, I'll actually do a live, I think, in a few days where I kind of share my thoughts and do kind of a deck review because I know that's something that one of my viewers requested from me months and months ago. So it's one of the videos I've had on my to-do list for quite some time, and I figured, why not? Like I said at the beginning of this live here, one of the reasons why I kind of wanted to um, jump on today in a very casual way, just share some of the things in my life, the objects, the personal care items, the witchy shit that's bringing me joy, is because I know it makes me feel better thinking about these kind of things. It might provide some sort of entertainment or a break from the stress and the fear and just how frightened and overwhelmed a lot of us on this planet are feeling right now. So, that being said, another thing that kind of inspired me to make this video was my tarot reading for today. On my altar, I'm working with the Osho Zen Tarot and the Rider-Waite-Smith. I like to have the centennial edition of the Rider-Waite-Smith on hand, just in case I want to kind of compare imagery between two decks. I like working with more than one deck at a time. And so the card I pulled from the Osho Zen, I think yesterday, is the Strength card, which in this deck is called Courage. Let me show it to you guys. I hope it's not showing up backwards for you guys. I don't think so. That's good. And this is it's one of my favorite strength cards of any deck that I own. You know, it's that courage and strength to keep growing, to keep reaching, even if you're a flower growing in the concrete jungle, you know, you still find a way. Life finds a way. We will find a way. And so this was just such a beautiful, beautiful message. And then today I decided to kind of expand on that and pull 3 cards. And I got the completion card, which in this deck would be, or in the Rider-Waite-Smith, or, you know, that kind of style would be the World card. And I really liked this card, this representation of it, because it kind of brings it back to self. And the puzzle pieces, like finally putting the different pieces together. I think one thing that this global pandemic crisis is teaching us, or at least it's a lesson that I'm trying to take away from this, is just really how interconnected and interdependent we are, and how we're all in this together. So that kind of global perspective that the World card can bring. Then I also got Innocence. And this in a Rider-Waite-Smith would be the Sun card, which is, you know, traditionally associated with children, childhood. But I really love that this is Innocence, and this is the specific card that kind of called to me, or kind of helped me, inspire me to make this video today, just remembering the simple joys, simple pleasures, those moments of childlike innocence and joy and wonder that you can still find amid a crisis, being stuck at home, or, you know, um, it just, it's a reminder to, if we can, and I understand there's a whole bunch of people around the planet that are in a lot worse situation than I am, and so I don't want to downplay that, but if we can, to turn off the news every once in a while if we can, put the cell phone down, and just stare out the window, just breathe, just take a moment to remember some things you're grateful for, take time for gratitude, um, those kinds of slowing life down, appreciating the moment, appreciating the beauty of the moment kind of thing. That's what this card reminded me or made me think of. And also another card, or the third card I pulled for myself today, was friendliness. I love this card too. It kind of complements what I was saying about the completion card, how we're all in this together. And just to remember compassion and kindness as we try to do what we can to get through this together, right? So that's what this card reminded me of. And so I kind of felt called by that reading this morning to make a type of like lighter, more uplifting kind of video. And I just thought, well, you know, what am I grateful for? What are the simple pleasures in life that I'm enjoying right now that I'm grateful for, right? Like a Waffle House coffee mug in Santiago, Chile, filled with chocolate, chocolate soy milk, right? And so for you guys in the chat and later on, if more people join or if people watch this after it's live, just mention some things that you're grateful for, things that spark a little bit of joy or a little bit of rest or a little break from everything. Feel free to mention witchy things, self-care items, whatever, you know, makes you feel better as you're getting through this. And it can be objects, self-care items, witchy stuff, activities, whatever. Whatever sparks joy in your life these days, these dark, scary days, right? So, let me start off with the witchy stuff because it's the stuff that's closest to me. So, like I mentioned before, I have here, right next to me, the two decks, Cooking and Eating. Yes, I just cooked a big old pot of soup, and it's delicious. It's a great break uh, from everything. Being in the kitchen, definitely. But I have gotten myself two decks while in Chile. These are the only two decks I've purchased down here. The first deck I got, probably about Botticelli. Oh, sorry if I'm in the living room where the Wi-Fi signal should hopefully be better. So if I apologize for any time I might freeze up here. But the Golden Botticelli is kind of a deck, I didn't expect myself to want this deck, but once I got it, I'm so thankful I did. The backings are beautiful, and it has just that beautiful Renaissance art style, you know, in Botticelli style, right? With the gold foil, like this is the Queen of Swords. I'm actually thinking about working with this deck again. I worked with it for several months. This is the Nine of Swords. It's just gorgeous. It's a beautiful interpretation of the Nine of Swords. Lots of swords cards popping up. This is Strength. And here strength is the 11th card instead of number 8 in the major arcana. And so this is a deck that I worked with pretty extensively from like October and November kind of time frame. And then a little bit more recently, kind of as a birthday / Christmas treat to myself, I got my very first Marseille style deck because I finally got myself this book, Jodorowsky's The Way of the Tarot, and this copy is in the original Spanish because I can read it. And I figured, Jodorowsky is from Chile, and this has been on my kind of witchy tarot studies wish list for years, right? But I figured since I have to go live in Chile, I'm going to wait until I'm in Chile to buy it there because it just felt more appropriate. So here I am, and I have a copy, and I'm really, really enjoying it. But this book is specifically about working with the Marseille, right? I'm not done with it yet. I've just read the first 146 pages. So I've just reached the section where they, and I say they because it's co-written with Marianne Costa. She actually wrote a good portion of this book. But I'm in the section where they actually break down each of the major arcana, and then the next few chapters are about like the court cards and then the minor arcana. So this is the Fool here. So I'm really excited to kind of take the Fool from this deck and look over the imagery and kind of read through the full chapter or section of this chapter and kind of work through the cards one by one, kind of building meaning for each card as I study each card and make my way through this book. I plan on going back and revisiting some of the recommended exercises in this book. So I'm really, really enjoying this. And I know this is a really popular, it's a tarot classic. But it's specifically about the Marseille. And the Marseille is not for everybody, but I've worked with the Rider-Waite-Smith kind of system and imagery and Rider-Waite-Smith inspired decks for probably, 5 years now. And so I feel like I'm ready to kind of complement that and move on, adding the Marseille system to my repertoire. So I'm really enjoying this book. I really enjoy this deck. Now I know Jodorowsky, he put together his own kind of Marseille deck. And so there might be differences between this Marseille and the Marseille that he's describing or that they're describing in the book, but I'm okay with that. This is the Universal Tarot of Marseille. This is printed by Los Garabero. So this is the second tarot deck I've ever gotten myself in Chile. So, just very classic Marseille imagery, and then of course the pips are pips, right? And so I'm really going to have to lean heavily on numerology and relating the pips back to related cards in the major arcana, right? And so I'm kind of excited to learn that process. So that has been bringing me joy. Also, my studies in astrology have been bringing me joy. I haven't had much time to work through Astrology for Yourself, which was put together by Demetra George. It's like a workbook, introduction book style to teach yourself astrology. I haven't picked that up in probably over a month. But I have been enjoying this book. This is in Spanish. I don't know how, I doubt it's been translated, and I don't know how available this is outside of Chile because it's written by a Chilean author. But I came across this book a few months ago, and it's called A Cosmic Mirror, A Voyage Through the Soul through the wisdom of the 12 signs, basically. Un espejo cósmico, el viaje del alma por la sabiduría de los 12 signos. Bleh, switching between, it takes my brain a minute to like make the switch between one language and another. So this is written by Gonzalo Perez. He is, they describe him as a pioneer in humanist psychology and psychotherapy. And so he is a psychologist at the University of Chile. And he kind of combines, or it's like a psychological approach to astrology. And so besides the introductory chapter, every subsequent chapter is about each of the signs. So this is the Aries chapter, right? And so what I've been doing is around the time of the full moon, I read the full moon's corresponding sign. And so recently, earlier, the first or second week of March, we had the Virgo full moon. And so I read the chapter on Virgo. And so I'm only reading one chapter every lunar cycle, and so I've been kind of slowly working my way through, but it's part of my my dedication to the moon and kind of my moon ritual to read through this book and read the chapter that matches the full moon's sign. So that's been really interesting, and I've been thoroughly enjoying this book, so that brings me joy. And just to continue on with books, another book that brings me joy is, and this is kind of topical, Why the World Doesn't End, Tales of Renewal in Times of Loss, by Michael Mead. This book I got 50% off. It was just something I stumbled upon at the Phoenix and Dragon bookstore in Atlanta, one of my favorite witchy, pagany, alternative spirituality kind of stores. We lived in Georgia, not in Atlanta, but close enough to Atlanta to visit Atlanta and go to the Phoenix and Dragon and treat ourselves, or treat myself, to witchy supplies and books and decks and whatnot. And so this was actually the last book I got there before we left for Chile. And basically, I'm still working through it. It's a book that I've kind of started, read a few chapters, and then I put down for several months, and then I would pick it back up again and then put it down again. So I'm hoping in the next week or so to actually finish it. Those of you who follow me on my channel, you probably know that part of my thesis, my doctoral dissertation, has to do with apocalypse. Apocalypse in general is something, it's an idea, a theme, a topic that I'm really interested in. And so that was the main reason why I just kind of picked up this book and decided to get it, and it was on sale. And so basically he goes through each chapter, he kind of expands upon a myth or a folk from different cultures around the world, precisely about renewal, about creativity, about the moment of creation, for example. The chapter I just finished had to do with water, like myths and legends and folk tales about water. And he mentioned, of course, the story of Noah from the Bible, right? That was something that he talked about. And it's all about self-reflection and myths and tales of renewal, times of loss. And so it seems kind of appropriate for me to finally read this book now during this current pandemic as a reminder that this isn't the end of the world. It's not the zombie apocalypse. We're going to get through this, but we all need to work together to try to reduce, human suffering as much as possible, right? So that's been interesting. And of course, a book I turn to every time I need to be reminded of my power and strength is The Lord of the Rings, and also the movies. The Lord of the Rings trilogy, the extended editions, of course, are my favorite films ever. The top, like, all three of those films are my number one favorite film ever. um, and so I finished reading last year The Fellowship of the Ring. Now I plan on moving on to The Two Towers. And it's just, this is the power of good storytelling and myths, and reading about myths and legends and fantasy stories about overcoming evil. Um, so it's just so good. I love it. And we're lucky that down here, I don't know about Netflix in North America or Netflix in other parts of the world, but Netflix down here has all three movies. Not the extended edition, unfortunately. They're the theatrical cut, but whatever. So we watched The Fellowship of the Ring the other day, and planning on continuing The Two Towers. Also related to witchy stuff, incense. I am loving these two incense in particular. This is lavender incense. I really love the Goloka brand. I got these at a kind of metaphysical witchy supply store in Santiago called Krishna, or Krishna. It's in the city center. Ooh, almost dropped it. Lavender, I've been burning this incense every day since the crisis really started vamping up down here. Lavender is just calming. It smells so good, and I only have a few sticks of this left. I'm trying to make a stick last several days. Like, I'll only burn it as long as I'm actively working with it, and then I'll put it out and save the rest for the next day. And actually tonight, because it is the new moon in Aries, I'm going to have a little kind of personal ritual. And whenever I do a more kind of intent-driven ritual, I love to burn saffron incense as an offering to my matron goddess. And saffron is just one of those herbs, spices, substances that I'm just really drawn to. I think saffron yellow, that beautiful golden yellow color, is my favorite color ever. It's just so beautiful and precious. And so it feels like a really nice gift or a worthy offering to my goddess whenever I burn this incense in particular. Oh, and Luna just jumped up on the couch. Let me show you. Let me see if I can finagle this, because Luna is also a cute, beautiful little creature that brings me joy. Try not to move the camera around too much. There she is. I'm sorry, honey. Am I covering your couch full of stuff? Did I take over your spot? Oh, let me make sure I got her. There she is. Luna, Luna. Hi, pretty girl. Yeah. Hi, pretty girl. Luna says hi to everybody. um, Here, I'll try not to move the camera too fast because I know that can be disorienting. Luna has been such a little trooper and such a little source of joy. It's really nice living with an animal, a sweetheart of an animal, to remind you of love and joy in these kinds of times. And so she's been great. Let's move on to food stuff that's been bringing me joy, and then I'll close with self-care kind of stuff. So if anybody, in case anybody new has joined the chat, please comment below, or if you're watching this after this is live, I think it would be great if just everybody shared at least one thing, your favorite food that you've treated yourself to, taking baths, doing more yoga, remembering to take a walk while practicing social distancing. You know, those kind of things that help comfort us, that are part of our self-care and can help get us through this, right? Okay, so I have here some delicious coffee. My sister brought this coffee down. She was here a few weeks ago to visit me, which was really, it's exactly what my soul needed. I hadn't seen her since December 2018. Um, French Truck Coffee, I think, is the name of the brand. She lives in New Orleans. And this is coffee mixed with chicory, with roasted or toasted chicory. And this coffee is dark, you guys. It is a dark, bold, strong, stout cup of coffee. Really good coffee. Highly recommend if you can get your hands on some. So we've been kind of rationing that out because it's precious. You know, you can't get this stuff down here in South America, right? Oh, the smell, it just smells so good. Some tea that I've really been enjoying, and this is a local Chilean brand, Supremo. This is, actually has it in English on the box, chamomile honey tea. Just something, you know, a simple pleasure. It's a cup of tea that I'll make for myself in the evening to wind down and just enjoy the simple sweetness and soothing nature of chamomile. So this has been great. In terms of the adult beverages department, we've been enjoying mango sour. So pisco is a type of alcohol. It's actually a type of sherry that is really popular in Peru and Chile, in that kind of area. I'm assuming Bolivia too. I'm not really sure, but they make a lot of it in Chile and Peru. I know for sure. And pisco, it's a strong liquor. It's a hard liquor, but it's because it has such a smooth flavor to it. People don't really drink it by itself. It's usually like always that I've seen mixed with something. So they make pisco sour, similar to a whiskey sour. I've had pisco mixed with Coca-Cola. It's called piscola. I've had pisco mixed with ginger ale. But also you can just buy like pre-made mixes. And so this is a mango sour. So this is pisco mixed with a mango flavor. And it is so good. It goes down dangerously easy. I actually like to cut mine with just water. I know that might be kind of sacrilege, but this stuff is strong and it's kind of a thick liquid and an intense flavor. So I don't mind kind of adding a little bit of water to it just to water it down. And it also makes it last longer because we are self-quarantining, you know. The idea is to stay inside as much as possible. So we've been enjoying this along with wine and the occasional beer, but drinking responsibly, you know. Um, and I think that's it for the kind of food items. Beauty items that I've really been enjoying. This is a hand cream that a friend of ours got me for my birthday last December. And it's called a manteca de manos. Manteca, technically manteca means like lard. It's not made with lard, but they use the word manteca to describe the consistency because it is a really thick consistency. It's not like a cream, it's like a body butter or hand butter kind of consistency. And it's made with rosa mosqueta, which, how do you say that? Rosehip oil. And so washing our hands more often, you know, our hands can get really dry. And so if I know I'm going to be spending a lot of time inside, you know, of course I wash my hands and to make sure not to touch my face, especially when I'm out and about. Like yesterday, I had to go to the grocery store, right? Practice social distancing. I had with me some hand sanitizer. We're lucky enough to have a couple of these small travel-sized bottles of hand sanitizer because everywhere else you can't find it anywhere. It's already sold out in all the stores and pharmacies and stuff. So I use this anytime, or I try to remember to use it anytime I'm touching things like doorknobs or that kind of stuff. And then, of course, when I come home, change my clothes, um, wash my hands first, then change my clothes, right? Um, so with all the hand washing that's going down, this hand butter cream has been a lifesaver because the air here is dry enough as it is. Speaking of hand washing, I really liked this bottle. We recently got this bottle because typically we use a more mild, kind of scent-free, hypoallergenic hand soap because my partner has contact dermatitis, and so really heavy-duty soaps and shampoos and dish soaps and stuff can cause his hands to break out in like itchy bumps and stuff, and it's not fun. However, since there's kind of these days it can be kind of hard to get your hands on soap, especially the hypoallergenic kind. We decided to get a second bottle of soap just so that I can use it because my hands can take it a little bit easier than his can. So that way he can use the hypoallergenic, scent-free, gentle stuff to wash his hands, and I can use more heavy-duty stuff. But please don't hoard cleaning supplies. Don't hoard, you don't need a dozen bottles of soap. Like, this is half a liter of soap, and this will last for, I mean, if it's just me using it, this will last months, right? And I am washing my hands, or, more frequently than before. So, it's biodegradable, it's not tested on animals, and it's a local brand, and it's dripping. You can see it's kind of dripping off the top here. It's the Familand brand that they sell down here in Chile. I got this for like less than $2 US, and it works great. It has really great foam. So, gotta love your soap. Soap can bring you joy as well. Just use a lot of lotion and hand creams because it'll dry your hands out too. Um, Speaking of that Familand brand, it's kind of I don't know if many people in my audience have ever moved abroad before, or moved like to a different continent before. But one thing I was kind of worried about was being able to find like the beauty and hair care products that were similar to what I used to get in the US. I knew exactly what I could use in the US. Coming down here to Chile, it's a different story. Of course, a lot of the same brands that are sold in the US are also sold down here, but I kind of wanted to explore more local brands. And so, the Familand, the same brand that made my hand soap, I also have a bottle of their shampoos. This is 750 milliliters of shampoo that I got for around 1,500 pesos. I know the peso and the dollar, it fluctuates every day, but a good guesstimate is that around 700 Chilean pesos equals $1. It's actually around 860 right now, but because the economy is just out of whack. But usually it's around 700. So I got this bottle for like $2, basically. It's biodegradable. It's sin sal. That means without salt. And when they're talking about salt, they're talking about cloruro de sodio ni parabenos. So some sort of sodium, like harsh kind of cleaner. It's free of that. It's free of parabens. And this actually is made with quille. I think I'm saying that right. I don't know if you can see it there. Quille, which is this plant right here. Quille is a type of, I believe, tree that is native to this region of Chile. And I think in English it's called soap bark, the soap bark tree. And I think some of them have been imported to places like California that have a similar climate to the central region of Chile. But basically, the bark of this tree, you can grind it up, and it kind of makes kind of like soap nuts, if you've heard of that. It makes like its own natural lather. And so this shampoo is made with that. And so I actually use this as a clarifying shampoo. Unfortunately, this does have sodium lauryl sulfate, which I know from what I've heard from beauty experts, you're supposed to avoid, right? Or at least don't wash your hair with this every single time that you wash your hair. I wash my hair twice a week, right? I only use this every like couple weeks as a clarifying shampoo because it has a soap bark, the quille, in it. And it's so cool that, you know, I'm using a shampoo with like an ingredient from a plant that's native to where I now live, right? That's kind of cool. But it also has the SLS in it, so I try to avoid using that every week. I only use this maybe twice a month as a clarifying shampoo. And then for my regular shampoo and conditioner, I'm really pleased with this Bioherapy brand. I have no idea if this is sold outside of Chile or where this is made. Let's see. I threw the boxes away. It came in boxes. I think the box might have had more. Oh, this is made in Turkey. Interesting. It must be imported into Chile, but this is free of sodium lauryl sulfate, so that's nice. So it's more gentle, and the shampoo has lavender in it, and it smells. It is so calming. Oh, it has such a beautiful lavender scent. So this is the shampoo, and then the conditioner is actually made with argan oil, which is really nice. So that's what I use on a more regular basis when I wash my hair. So that brings me joy, the fact that I was able to find and work with beauty products here that work with my hair, because I have the finest, flattest hair in the world. And it's kind of sensitive. My hair and my scalp are kind of sensitive, so I got to find products that work with me instead of against me, you know, and that's one of the things I was worried about when we initially moved down here. Speaking of hair, and this is a more recent discovery, like just a week ago, I am in love with these Hask brand like hair oils, and I got the two small little tubes. Let me see if, I don't know if this will show up very well. Hask brand, it makes a lot of products with argan oil in it. So I got the Hask argan oil repairing shine hair oil that supposedly strengthens and restores, which is this one. And I also got the Hask Monoi coconut oil, which supposedly nourishes, shines, moisturizes, and revitalizes. So these hair oils, even though they are at the first glance pretty thick, once you, and I only use like 2 little tiny drops, like not even a dime sized amount because my hair is super fine. But I kind of, once I get out of the shower and towel dry my hair, I'll put some on my fingers and then work it down, especially from here down. You don't want to get it too close to the scalp or the roots. But from here down, just to protect and strengthen the actual strands of the hair. And believe it or not, this is day 2 hair for me. I washed it yesterday. I used some of the coconut oil one and worked it in from here down just to add some shine and moisture, and it doesn't make me look like a grease ball, which is very surprising. I'm not exactly sure what the rest of the other ingredients are. I'm assuming different types of ingredients that help with you know, to make the oils less greasy. But I'm really, really pleased. They kind of also act as a a form of detangler. I find that it's easier for me to brush my hair, and my hair doesn't get as tangled when I have this in my hair. So if you're looking for kind of a hair serum or a hair oil, highly recommend this one. Like, I have the finest hair in the universe, and if this doesn't make me look greasy, it's a win. So, and I believe in the US you can find these pretty easily. It's like a drugstore kind of type of product. I got these here in Chile. Sally Beauty Supply is actually down here, and they sell this. So I decided to get the small little bottles just to test it out. And once these are out, I'm definitely going to buy and invest in the big bottle, because I love this stuff. It's really great. Um, and then, also speaking of hair, that same Hask brand makes a dry shampoo. Unfortunately, dry shampoo down here is super expensive. It's like nearly 10,000 pesos, which is like $15. I was expecting to find something, not imported, something that's made locally. Um, but unfortunately, this was all I could find. This is their kind of coconut oil dry shampoo, which I really like. It's long-lasting oil absorption. It's free of sulfates, parabens, and aluminum. And so I really like the dry shampoo. This is basically the only kind I can find down here. So it's what I'm stuck with. I like it. It works. Then another thing that's bringing me joy that I found down here is this night serum. This is made locally in Chile. And it's made with, again, plants that grow down here, like boldo, which let me show you kind of what boldo looks like. They make a tea with boldo as well. It's a type of herb that grows here. Boldo. Super bitter. Super bitter. I'm not a fan of the tea. But it's also, along with aloe vera and some other herbal extracts, an ingredient in this eye serum. So this is a nighttime eye serum that I found and decided to treat myself to. And also, since the air down here is so dry, um, you know, it's good to moisturize, especially if your skin isn't used to it like mine. So this is an under eye serum that is used at night, and it has like a very thick, nice aloe vera gel kind of consistency, but it goes on really well. And I actually sometimes put it all over my face. So that has been bringing me joy, and I really like the fact that it is made with native ingredients, like ingredients native to South America and native to Chile, right? That's really cool. And lastly, something that brings me joy is my perfume bottle that my partner gifted to me for my birthday. This is Michael Kors Wanderlust Sublime. And it's such a beautiful bottle. It's my favorite type of perfume. I love really musky, spicy, earthy kind of scents, which I understand might be better for like a wintertime kind of perfume. Maybe not the best for a summertime perfume, but we just entered into fall. We had the autumn equinox here a few days ago, so winter's coming, and I'm just excited to just bathe myself in this perfume. This is the first quote-unquote fancy bottle of perfume I've ever owned in my life. And so it's just a very special gift that my partner gave to me. I can't stop smelling it. And, anytime I need to pick me up, scent is a very powerful thing. Scent can bring back a lot of emotions and memories. It's really powerful. And so, even if you're not leaving the house anytime soon, like the rest of us, with this whole quarantine situation, go ahead and put on your perfume if you want. Treat yourself. I guess, in summary, for this whole video, The reason I'm sharing the small little things and witchy things and books that are bringing me joy is because for me it's part of, my self-care practice. And, now is the time for self-care. And, by taking care of ourselves, by following the CDC guidelines, washing our hands often, if we can, avoiding, leaving the house, quarantining ourselves, working from home if we can, practicing social distancing, these things, they not only take care of ourselves, they also help us take care of our communities, especially the people that are more vulnerable to this disease, right? By taking care of ourselves, we take care of each other. And so I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of random little haul video. Thank you guys for joining me in the chat. And if you're watching this on repeat later, share what brings you joy, the simple things in life, the things that you've taken the time to appreciate the past few days, things that kind of help you deal with just this insanity. It's been a lot, you guys, so don't feel guilty for, putting on your perfume even though you're not going to leave the house, or treating yourself to a special meal, or taking the time to learn to cook a new recipe, or, you know, um, those sorts of things. So please be safe, take care of yourself, and I hope we all stay safe and healthy and we can get through this together. Okay. Happy new moon. Bye, y'all.